YouTube, once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast post-Auburn game. I did a reaction video earlier. Now, when you do a reaction video, that's more of a, I guess you could say a more emotional response because you don't have, like, all the information that you need to really dissect some of the important parts of the game. Now, you know, like we've been doing all season, pretty much since I've been doing this, is we take an educated look at the game of football and Auburn football in general. Go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Want to give some more educated takeaways from this particular football game between Texas A&M and Auburn. There were some keys to the game that I talked on before this game happened. And I love the fact that Auburn capitalized on pretty much every point that I talked about. Number one, I thought Bo Nix, no, he didn't need to play lights out, but he didn't need to be a liability. Bo Nix was 12 for 20 for 100 yards, not at all exciting numbers. However, 60% passing, and he made the passes that he did connect on count. Now, he did miss one, but Bo Nix is continuing to get comfortable, and you can tell from a play calling standpoint that Gus Malzahn is being a little bit more responsible in what he's asking Bo Nix to do. Another thing that I like as far as from a takeaway standpoint is the fact that Bo Nix made some really, really nice run-pass option reads and helped to open up the offense for Auburn, catapulting Auburn to a 14-3 start. Not looking back, Texas A&M never had the lead, never tied, never had a chance in this particular football game, which is another thing I'm very impressed with from the Auburn Tigers. Number two, I thought if Texas A&M was going to win this particular football game, that they were going to have to do very well in punt returns because that's something that they were actually good at, and that's something that Auburn was absolutely terrible at. However, 3 punts for Auburn, 0 yards returning. This is what I call, guys, the game within the game. The stuff that you really don't see that actually makes a difference. Because I was just thinking, all right, so Auburn's going to punt. Texas A&M is going to flip field position and give Kellen Mond and Isaiah Spiller a chance at this particular football game. Did not happen. Auburn did an excellent job with punts, even at times, even to sacrifice a couple of extra, maybe 10 yards, kick the ball out of bounds. I think the game plan as far as punts was absolutely phenomenal for the Auburn Tigers. Big shout out to the Tigers special teams, War Eagle. Another thing that I said had to happen, but Auburn actually capitalized on this. I've been saying for a couple of weeks that Auburn plays pretty sound on defense. Tonight, played pretty sound on cue for what they've been doing. Only allowed 20 points. They allow, typically about anywhere between 15 to 19 points per game. So, 1 point off. But one thing I thought had to happen for the Tigers in order to start to become an elite type of defense, is you got to create turnovers. And guess what? Right on time, Auburn's up 14-3. And the first drive, I want to say the first play of the second half, you're talking about you defer to the second half for a reason, because chances are when you defer to the second half as an offense, you are kind of anticipating the possibility of having some momentum. But Texas A&M gets the first drive, first play, fumble, Isaiah Spiller, who we talked about in a video earlier this week as possibly being a liability, and sure enough, he was. Fumble the ball, Daniel Thomas recovers, Auburn gets it, 21-3, pretty much the ball game. Now, we didn't particularly like what Auburn did. We thought we just so bad wanted Auburn to win 40-3 and all this other stuff. But at that point, Auburn had complete control of the football game, never looked back, won the game, in a position to make a run in the SEC, War Eagle. Here's my favorite part about this particular ball game. It's some more coming, though. Don't worry. This is going to be not a long video, but we're going to cover a lot of stuff in this. Derrick Brown re-emerges. Derrick Brown, now, he decided to come back after having all aspirations to be an NFL football player. He decided to come back, and he's a defensive tackle for Auburn. Could have been projected to be a top 1, 2 second round pick. Derrick Brown definitely got off to a slow start. I actually read an article this week where some of the NFL outlets were actually downgrading Derrick Brown and kind of sort of saying, well, you know, he's not performing to the level that we think he should. Well, I mean, my thing is this. He set out the whole Kent State game, was double team, triple team, held against Oregon. But once Auburn has made the adjustments to help utilize the effectiveness of Derrick Brown. And guess what that has translated to? My favorite takeaway of this football game is the fact that Derrick Brown had 4 tackles, 3 solo tackles. He had, I think, 2 tackles for a loss and 2 sacks. That is high-end football for Derrick Brown. You know, I think, 4 tackles, 3 for solo, 2 for a loss, and 2 sacks. I think that is absolutely incredible for Derrick Thomas. As a matter of fact, I was actually doing some commentating on Facebook, and I said, all right, it's time for a pick 6. And sure enough, Derrick Brown actually almost caught an interception, kind of similar to his predecessor, Nick Fairley, did during his tenure at Auburn. I think Derrick Brown, having this type of game, having this type of domination, putting himself back in the forefront as far as one of the leading defensive players in college football, I thought that was a huge takeaway from this particular game. Big shout out to Derrick Brown, War Eagle. Last but not least, the biggest take from this is Gus Malzahn winning the winnables. Clearly, the points, the domination shows that Auburn was the better team. This is a game, no matter how pretty you wanted it to be, but this is the game that Gus Malzahn had to win, and he did. Big shout out to Gus Malzahn. I think he kind of played it close to the vest, but they didn't make the typical mistakes that they make with special teams and allowing big plays that they normally make. And you saw Auburn comfortably. Even though it wasn't a 56-0 or 60-0 win, it wasn't going to be that anyway. But you saw Auburn comfortably beat Texas A&M. No matter what the in-game drama caused, there was never any threat, guys. If you really look at this game, and if you're looking at it from an educated standpoint, there was really no threat ever in this game until late. Maybe when the onside, and you knew they were going to recover the onside kick, but there was never any relative threat. That's what I like about this team. Outside of the Oregon game, even in the second half, these guys played very calm. And I keep telling y'all, the reason why Auburn is playing like this is because you have an overlap of experience. Derrick Brown been around for a while. Marlon Davidson, Nick Cole, Daniel Thomas, Jeremiah Denson. The whole offensive line has been around since 2015. So that's why these guys are calm, because they've been there. So, Mississippi State coming up. Under the lights at Jordan-Hare Stadium, 6 o'clock game again. Auburn is very fortunate. They're playing in all the prime time spots this year for the Tigers, taking on Mississippi State, another winnable game for the Tigers in their quest to take their place in the SEC, especially the SEC West. Very excited about it. I'm going to give you guys the same coverage that I've been giving you every week. Go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're talking about Mississippi State this week. Cowbells and the such. They're coming to Auburn, baby. Tell you about Mississippi State. They usually serves as a nemesis for the Auburn Tigers. Usually kind of a slick trap game for the Tigers. Like this video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Vernon Speaks Sports, Auburn, Kennard, Vernon Stewart here. I am your Auburn conversationist. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger. War Eagle.